giving up everything, right? And people, you know, what do people, if you're unemployed, what do? You probably watch more television, read the internet more. So, I don't know.
Yeah. But don't you think Microsoft are fighting against too much competitors? Like now, phones, software, database, cloud.
Yeah. We certainly have a lot of competition. And but I think that's always been true. You know, if you went back, 10 years ago, there were different competitors, but you had people like Lotus before they were bought by IBM. You had Bell. You had other competitors. Our vision is very broad, and so we are working in a lot of technology areas. Most of the competitors we're competing against in particular areas, they're not trying to work at the sort of the vision, the broad vision that we are. And so I'd say that in some ways, then that just, if you want to go and try and do something as big as what we're doing, it's going to drive more individual competition. We're just at the end of the day just trying to do the right thing, the best thing for the customer, and then create a model that partners can participate.
You know, the risk of spreading yourself too thin. I mean, you got like HP just like doing everything under the sun, and now maybe let's go to software instead of hardware, and
Well, I think that's something that Steve Ballmer probably thinks about. But
you're into hardware, or
I mean, I know we don't go into new businesses nonchalantly. We give it proper thought. And we also, there aren't many companies that can do a sustained investment in a new area as deeply as Microsoft can. Buying Yammer at $1.2 billion, is still relatively small acquisition for us. Skype, Yammer was $1 billion. Skype was 6 or 8. Those are big numbers. And yet we still have 60, 70 billion in the bank. And so our ability to, you can say a lot of things about Microsoft, but generally people will agree that we are persistent. And we'll keep going, and we will work at it, and we will get it right eventually. And I think that's true if you look at the server market. Early on, I can remember people, basically saying, Windows NT was not ready, and it took us 10 years to really get into the server business. And so, I think people sometimes forget that.
Some of the areas that you're in are more competitive than others. Like the mobile business is ridiculously competitive. And you miss one wave and you're out of the game practically.
Absolutely.
Companies at BlackBerry that were a couple years ago were on top of the game, they're struggling. So,
no, it's totally true.
Servers is a different market maybe too.
What I would say is that
we're in a different momentum.
Oh yeah, no, I'd be foolish if I didn't admit that we see the momentum that some of these other platforms have there. But that said, we're realistic, and at the same time, I think pleased with what we've seen with Windows Phone. And I don't know, the Windows Phone 8 demo, every time, that group is pushing it hard. And the stuff they showed today, they did their big Windows Phone 8 launch 2 weeks ago. They showed stuff today they didn't even have 2 weeks ago. Okay, so some of those demos they were showing out there, some of the wallet stuff, some of the company hub. That was really cool stuff. They didn't show any of that 2 weeks ago. So it shows you how fast that group's moving.
Okay.
If you look at what needs to happen in the phone business, we've got to get. There's a price point we've got to get to, and that price point, to get to that price point, it's driven by volume, right? So you have to get enough volume so you can get the chipsets prices down to that price point. And that's what we're working to. We've gone from $400 phones to $250 phones to phones now are about $150. And the key for us in the next year in the phone business is we got to break $99. We've got a phone in China that is under $100, but we've got to get a mass phone out there for under $100. And you talk to the people who use our phones, they love our phones, and I met a lot of people who used to use iPhones and started using a Windows Phone, and they like it better. And so there are a lot of good reasons. It's a pretty personal thing, but I know which one I like.
And you're finding two battles. You've also tried to keep Nokia still in the game as well. People to get interested in the Windows Phone and Nokia.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly a deep partnership with Nokia. The thing, actually, most people, it's funny because the U.S. is technology is very biased to the U.S. People don't understand how powerful Nokia is outside the U.S. And it's very powerful in some Latin American countries. Very powerful brand in Europe. When I was in Russia, everywhere I went was Nokia stuff. And so, I think what might surprise people is that rather a lot of these things came from the U.S. and spread out. I actually think with the Nokia stuff in particular, it's going to happen in other parts of the world and then come into the U.S. more. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Is it definitely a battle for apps? Because at the end of the day, you see how do you get the volume is what you have in your phone. Irrespective of what the phone looks like, it's what you can do with it. So
Apple, we'll see what Apple does, but Apple, in some degree, pays a different price point. One of the things if you look at Apple's channel, since we're talking about partners, Apple's channel massively subsidizes very expensive handsets. Okay, so they're paying something like a $400 subsidy on every handset. Do you think they're excited about that? No. Okay, if there's a better alternative, those guys will move quickly. And like one of you said, this stuff's happening very quickly. So that's our job, is to make a change, create some momentum. So what else? Let's see. We talked a bit about MPN.